Good news for power consumers as the fuel surcharge has dropped. Hear the latest on the trial of two brothers accused of killing a police officer. And remembering the fallen 9 1 year later. The Bahamas Tonight, the National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Electricity consumers can expect significant and sustainable reductions in the cost of energy. Good evening, everyone. I'm Charisma Robinson. A compendium of bills tabled today to lower energy costs in the country and put BEC on improved financial footing through bonds. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister responsible for BEC, Philip Davis, tabled the bills renewing government's commitment to energy reform. Janelle Ferguson has more.
It's a promise made by government that, according to Deputy Prime Minister Philip Davis, has been delivered to the Bahamian people, lowering electricity rates and taking steps to overhaul the financially strapped BC.
When compared to October 2014, the fuel surcharge is dramatically reduced. In fact, the fuel charge is about 60% lower. In October 2014, it was 27.7 cents per kilowatt hour. Now it is 11.4 cents per kilowatt hour in October 2015.
The minister responsible for BC noted that in February 2012, more than 5,000 BC customers were out of power and unable to afford the essential utility that was fast becoming a luxury. He also noted that the high cost of electricity in the country has been a turnoff for investors. Mr. Davis also explained how the new company formed within BC will operate.
The new 100% owned operating subsidiary, which is now called Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited, will operate under private sector management by a service provider in a manner consistent with this government's national energy policy. It provides for the separation of regulatory and operation functions by the restructuring of BEC. It does this by transferring its commercial operating functions and assets to a wholly owned subsidiary company.
Now, BC's new board was appointed several weeks ago. They first presented an all-encompassing investment plan, which was presented to Cabinet last week. The Utility Regulation and Competition Authority, ERCA, functions have also been amended under the new electricity bill. Now, according to Davis, the bill will also tackle BC's $500 million debt while reducing rates for consumers.
This is not a new debt. It is primarily a refinancing of existing highly inefficient debt and liabilities of BEC, which is costing BEC not only high rates of interest today, but is also restricting BEC from undertaking the capital investment it needs to make.
Janelle Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Thanks so much, Janea. Still on news from Parliament, the National Honors Bill tabled today. The proposed legislation will pave the way for the country to move away from the British honors and adopt our own national awards. Clint Watson reports.
The new National Honors Act 2015 provides for the establishment of 6 separate orders that will make up the Societies of Honor. They include the Order of National Hero, the Order of the Nation, the Order of the Bahamas, the Order of Excellence, the Order of Distinction, and the Order of Merit. According to Prime Minister the Right Honourable Perry Christie, the advisory committee will make recommendations to the Prime Minister of persons fit to be conferred with an honour, and the Prime Minister must consult with the opposition leader for consideration of the nominees. Regarding the Order of National Hero, the highest honour, appointments will be made by the Governor-General, who will serve as a Chancellor of the Order, acting on advice of the Prime Minister after consultation with the opposition leader and consideration by the Advisory Committee.
The Order of National Heroes as I have said before, by nature will be exceedingly small, the rarest of the rare, the greatest of the great. And it must remain so if the term national hero is to retain its legitimacy. This status is really only intended to be conferred on those citizens of the Bahamas who have fundamentally influenced the course of Bahamian history or who have given service to the Bahamas by outstanding leadership, extraordinary achievement, or heroic sacrifice of a truly transformative kind.
Prime Minister Christie pointed out that while there are significant numbers who may not be worthy of the Order of National Hero, the highest rank, they can be awarded in one of the other categories. The Order of the Nation, however, is reserved for and bestowed upon all who have served as Governor General and Prime Minister. A select committee of Parliament will be appointed to consider these draft regulations and report back to the House on December 9th.
The system of national honors should and must be understood and have wide acceptance. Accordingly, this select committee will have the usual wide powers to call for persons and papers and to sit from place to place.
The Prime Minister says these awards serve as yet another avenue to honor Bahamians, which began with the naming of buildings, Defense Force vessels, and roads. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Thanks so much, Clint. President of the Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union, Bernard Evans, is expressing fierce opposition to Cable Bahamas being awarded the second mobile license as government moves to liberalize the telecommunications sector. Cleopatra Murphy tells us why he is so firmly against it and how far the union head is willing to go to prevent it from happening.
President of the Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union, Bernard Evans, says, quote, Cable Bahamas does not deserve to be entertained for the second mobile license, end quote, blasting the company as selfish and arrogant. Evans, who claims the company is not a good corporate partner, says Cable Bahamas has yet to deliver on the promises it made when it entered the cable market.
Cable Bahamas have had the monopoly for 20 years to provide cable services throughout this country where you have 20 or more homes. They have not been good. They have not delivered. I don't see how they were even invited to bid on an almost $300 million entity as mobile.
Evans said at a press conference Tuesday that Cable Bahamas' exclusive rights agreement to provide cable services in Grand Bahama until 2054 should be revoked.
We're in this day and order that if you're trying to encourage competition, that in 2008 you're going to allow them to lock down that any child born in Grand Bahama that they want to get in that business will have to wait until they're over 40 years of age.
Evans expressed his views after the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority announced last month that Cable Bahamas won the auction process against Virgin Mobile Bahamas. The company must now meet preconditions to be awarded a license that could be issued before the end of the year. Evans says he will engage other unions in efforts to prevent that.
We will ask the TUC and the NCTUB to stand with us and protest against the issuance of any second license for Cable Bahamas to enter into this market. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. They're selfish, they're greedy, they are arrogant.
Evans believes Virgin Mobile Bahamas would have been a better option to provide national mobile services. He says the company is anti-union, noting that the BCPOU has been trying to get an industrial agreement signed for Cable Bahamas employees for years now, to no avail.
They've decided that they don't want any part of unions. They don't want workers to have a say in what they generate and their worth. It's a sad, almost an indictment to be entertaining Cable Bahamas for any other license in this country.
Suggesting that Cable Bahamas has made more than $1 billion in the last 20 years and given back what he sees as an insignificant amount to the community, the union leader says he will fight to avoid the company getting a license if he has to stand alone. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.
Well, Cable Bahamas responded to Evans' comments in a release stating that the successful applicant in Phase 2 of the mobile process, the company is working diligently to acquire the second license. The company says it is laser focused on encouraging that the country will have what is much needed second provider in NUCO, with the addition of some 150 to 200 jobs added to the sector.